This video describes a Tyler software tool for human-guided data exploration. In exploratory data analysis, we want to gain insight into the relations in a dataset and discover something interesting, that is, something that contrasts with what we already know about the data. Consider the following situation where we only know the marginal distributions of a dataset. A random sample that conforms to this knowledge looks like this. But this might not be what the actual data looks like. When we compare our assumptions about the data with the real data, we can see that these do not agree, and we have hence learned something interesting. What we just observed was one sample from a distribution of datasets where the marginals are fixed. In order to compare different hypotheses concerning relations in the data, we will need to have more samples with the same marginal distributions as the original dataset. We can generate such samples by constraint permutation of the original dataset. Consider this schematic representation of a data matrix with 7 attributes. To model relations between attributes, we use tiles, here marked with green. When we permute the data matrix, items on the same row in the tile are permuted together, keeping these relations intact. Using tiles, we can hence formulate different hypotheses concerning relations in the data. In this example, hypothesis 1 is that the attributes in the tile are dependent, and hypothesis 2 is that these attributes are independent. To investigate these hypotheses, we sample datasets from the distribution corresponding to hypothesis 1, where the relations in the tile are preserved, and datasets from the distribution corresponding to hypothesis 2, where the columns in the tile are permuted independently of each other. The tiles also allow us to model the knowledge the user has concerning relations in the data. Everything can be expressed as tiles. When the user explores the data, he or she observes relations and marks these as seen by adding tiles. The goal is to present the user with maximally informative views of the data. In this example, the view on the right is more informative since the samples corresponding to the different hypotheses differ more. Tyler is an open source, cross-platform software tool developed in R using Shiny and runs in the web browser. We now show a demonstration of how Tyler is used to investigate relations in a dataset containing German election results and different socio-economic factors. When we load a dataset, we are shown the variables in the dataset and a part of the data. We now start exploring the data. The main scatterplot shows the most informative view. Votes for the left party in 2005 and 2009 are shown here. The scatterplot matrix shows the 5 most informative variable pairs and helps us navigate. The tool allows us to choose the mode, which by default is Explore. We notice that the data has several correlated variable pairs in which we are not interested. We hence choose to focus on relations in a subset of the data. We define a focus region by selecting columns and data items. The attributes we select for the focus style describe the election results of 2009 and different aspects of the population. Defining the focus style allows us to compare 2 different hypotheses concerning the relations between the attributes representing election results and demographic properties. The first hypothesis is that there are relations between these attributes, and the second hypothesis is that there are no relations between these attributes. We update the background distribution and the view. We now see votes for the left party and the fraction of children in the population. We notice a clearly separated cluster with a low number of children. This cluster mainly corresponds to regions in eastern Germany. We add a tile corresponding to this and update the background distribution and the view. The next view shows votes for the left party and unemployment. We observe that the data items just selected again form a cluster. In the next view, we see votes for the Green Party and a fraction of old people in the population. The cluster we previously observed is not visible here. In this new view, we find urban regions with few old people and high votes for the Green Party. The Tyler software allowed us to explore the data and understand some interesting relations.